Hey guys, what's up? I'm Christopher from China Germany today with the Elephone M2. The phone Elephone have proven that they changed a lot. In case you wonder why and how, I suggest you to keep watching since I'm about to tell you everything about that right here and now. Looking at the phone's packaging, we have a large black box there with the M2 imprint right on top. Inside we find one power supply and a USB cable along a SIM tray opening tool and a quick start guide. A nice addition are protective films for both the rear and front of the handset. Design-wise, the Elephone M2 is all about wowing you. It hasn't been that long ago when Elephone devices have been considered as cheap and crappy built devices. They mostly have been made from plastic, and if there was metal it was just glued onto the body. But that changed, and boy did it a lot. The Elephone M2 is the very first Elephone device that comes with a unibody metal housing. That means the whole thing, including the chassis, has been CNC crafted out of one piece of metal, and that makes the phone not only a real beauty in both the golden and black grayish version, but a very sturdy device as well. Try bending it, you likely won't succeed without willingly destroying the phone. Looking closer at the design, it gets obvious that Elephone paid quite some attention to details here. The edges of the device have been polished to be glossy, while the remaining parts of the metal are silky matte. Also, the sides are slightly curved, which gives a very nice feeling holding the phone in your hand. All in all, the Elephone M2 features an impressively high build quality. There are no moving buttons, no sharp edges, no parts that stick out. The phone indeed seems much more expensive than the $170 you pay for it. So is there anything I dislike? Well, unfortunately there is, and it can be found on the rear. It's those black antenna / camera covers that are actually made from plastic. Obviously that means they are quite sensitive to scratches, and especially when it comes to the camera cover, that is a real downside. Also, the imprints on the rear are just painted onto the metal, which means they are likely to rub off with time. Elephone should have used some laser or etching process there. The Elephone M2 sticks to the current standards and comes with a 5.5-inch LG-made screen. It offers a sharp and bright picture with sufficient contrast ratio. Unfortunately, the colors are kind of a letdown since the panel suffers from a yellowish tint. This can be made less obvious with MediaTek's Mirror Vision technology, but it's still there. The digitizer recognizes up to 5 fingers at once and works quite precise and sensitive with no noticeable input lag. The only downside is that there is some jerkiness going on when scrolling fast. That appears to be some touch panel configuration or driver issue that Elephone will have to fix. And the glass surface is allegedly made from Gorilla Glass 3, which I can't prove to be a lie so far. To date, the surface still is without scratches. The surface also is rather smooth, but does not come with an anti-fingerprint coating. Inside the Elephone M2, the good old MT6753 SoC is taking care of your stuff, along 3GB of RAM and a large and fast internal memory of 32GB and up to 177MB per second reading speed, plus a well-optimized system. It offers sufficient performance for all apps you throw at it. Some micro lags you might notice are caused by the Mali T720 GPU, which unfortunately is not as powerful as I would like. That obviously means that the Elephone M2 shouldn't be used for demanding games. Older games like Dead Trigger 2 or GT Racing 2, however, are still playable at medium settings, but for everything else, the processing power is totally sufficient. A little downside of the device is that it doesn't come with many sensors. There only is a proximity, orientation and light sensor. The fingerprint sensor embedded into the home button does work, however you shouldn't expect any magic to happen. It often happens that you have to put your finger on it 2 or 3 times until it is recognized. Also, the claim that it takes just 0.5 seconds to unlock isn't entirely true. If you wake the phone up using the power button and then put your finger on the sensor, it indeed takes around 0.5 seconds to unlock, but the total time will still be more than a second. If you place the finger on the sensor without waking the phone up before, it will take again 1 to 1.5 seconds until you hit the home screen. The software part allows you to save up to 5 fingerprints, but those can only be used for unlocking the phone. There is no app lock feature. The Elephone M2 runs a near stock Android 5.1 that, as mentioned before, is nicely optimized. It does not come with any bloatware and runs pretty smooth and stable, so as far as that goes, I can't blame Elephone for anything. There are a few things I dislike though. First of all, there is one stage fright security hole left to be fixed. Another thing Elephone needs to improve is updates. They frequently publish new ROMs for the M2. So far there have been around 4 updates per month, but those don't come via over-the-air updater, but have to be flashed manually, and especially for people who don't know much about that kind of stuff, that is a real no-go. The Elephone M2 offers everything you need when it comes to networking. It offers support for the LTE Band 20 and the reception quality is pretty good. In fact, I've never had any issues on the go. Wi-Fi is working fine as well, also with 5 GHz networks, but the signal strength is a little weaker than on some high-end devices. I noticed some bandwidth limitations on floors below and above the router. The GPS reception quality is top-notch and on the same level as the recently tested Xiaomi Redmi Note 3. The signal strength of satellites looks really good, even with bad weather. Accuracy values of 2 meters aren't hard to reach. The only downside in real-life use of GPS is that there is no magnetic compass present. Phone call quality is good on the Elephone M2. In fact, it is crystal clear, which is surprising on a budget phablet. The noise cancelling mic does its job well. There's just a slight background noise, but that doesn't disturb. The internal media speaker unfortunately is very disappointing. Instead of stereo speakers, the phone only comes with one speaker, so the second opening is just for the looks. It does sound rather flat and tends to distort. Through headphones you get a very nice audio quality. There are no background noises and the output is crystal clear and well balanced. The Elephone M2 comes with a 13 megapixel camera along a dual LED flash. The used sensor according to Elephone is a Sony IMX214. Anyway, don't expect quality shots like from higher end devices using the same sensor, since sharpness of the picture is way below such phones and also below a Meizu M2 Note. What's more, pictures often show a bluish tint and overdrawn contours. In addition, the failure rate is pretty high. Out of 10 shots, I have to delete 3 on average. At night, the camera does surprisingly well, but you have to keep your hand still. Issues arise with synthetic indoor lighting. Pictures almost never get sharp then. That also applies to pictures shot using the LED flash, except close-ups. Videos are recorded with full HD and look rather nice, both under daylight and at night. I especially love the audio quality of videos. The microphones capture even noises far away and low frequency ranges are covered as well. There should be no problem recording a concert with that thing. The front camera does acceptable shots at daylight but sucks at night. Battery life was a rather negative experience for me on the Elephone M2. According to my battery counter, the cell inside the phone offers a 2500 mAh capacity, and that is below the average of MT6753 based phones. Obviously you notice that, since in Geekbench 3 the phone scored a screen on time of only close to 5 hours, and that at low brightness. Usually I do 40% screen brightness on those battery tests, and if I do that with the Elephone M2, screen on time goes down to 3 hours. For real life usage, that means that it is hard to get throughout a full day without recharging, and that is significant since the phone doesn't offer any quick charge technology, which means you will have to wait 4 hours until it is fully charged again, which for me is absolutely not acceptable. So what's my verdict? Well, the Elephone M2 for sure is the most quality device made by Elephone to date, maybe even the most quality device you can get at sub $200 right now. But it does have flaws, some more or less significant depending on your needs, and that's why I only can give you a limited purchase recommendation. So in case you love the design and can live with the flaws, go for it, else stay away. That's simple. The Elephone M2 can be purchased, for example, at TinyDeal right now, where it is priced at around $170 to $180. You will find a link in the video description. So that's all from my side. Thank you for watching this review, and I hope you will be with me again on the next review as usual. If you have questions, drop a comment, and if you like what we are doing at GISChina Germany, make sure to subscribe to this channel and pay us a visit at www.gischina.de. Bye bye, over and out.